So to answer that question in chat, who gets the fun of processing these tiny samples is Liz.
Good night, benthic boy.
Good night, benthic boy. Sleep well.
Good night, benthic boy.
Barnacle boy.
Do you think they've been watching all day?
Yeah, they've been our #1 supporter from
dude.
4 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Shout out to benthic boy.
That's shots fired at Jason, though.
Wow. Love you too, Jason. Love you too, Jason.
You didn't forget about Jason. He just, you know. Benthic Boy's a memorable name.
Fair.
Oh, it's a scope. Thank you, person in chat.
Yeah, auto's off. It's coming around. Yep. Raj, I can't come any lower because there's a cliff below me, so we're going to have to scooch the stern back towards Herc some more. Yeah, we're tail to tail. Yeah, it was around, now it's swung back this way.
This animal was last observed in 2015 around Johnston Atoll.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Look at that. We broke the 6-year streak. 7-year streak. Yeah.
Could help classify a new species.
Congratulations, viewers at Nautilus Live. You've just possibly found a new species with us.
Possibly. Also Wake Island. The Line Islands, similar morphologies.
Jeez.
Who's the best Mario Kart player on the EV Nautilus? It's a toss-up between Brandon and Drew, depending on what the day is.
It's definitely me.
It's probably
Oh.
Brandon.
I'll absolutely school
we
Drew.
also get the
sorry,
go
Dad.
ahead from Drew that it is in fact Brandon. Although I do hear that Tim's pretty good at it too. So we'll have to see.
You know, for all my winning in Mario Kart, though, I've yet to win any card game.
Oh, that's true. We do have the trend of
Yeah, I don't
beating on
understand
Brandon
why.
for every single card game we play.
It doesn't make any sense.
You'll get it one day, champ. Don't worry.
Apparently.
It's just it's to compensate from.
They're
beating
all
us
so
in Mario
scared of
Kart.
me, they all team up. I think that's what it is.
Why do you think that is, Brandon?
I just said why. They're all so scared.
You know what? That's fair.
Very true.
Brandon is a little bit terrifying at times.
Hey, relax. That's on the public record. There's a yellow something.
I think that may be debris.
Most likely.
That may be debris.
It's just very vivid.
to answer that question, chat, how much pressure are on the ROVs? How much pressure are the ROVs facing right now? Gibson or Dan or someone in the front row, do you know
Well,
that
I
answer?
mean, we talked about this, didn't we? It's just like you take the depth and then multiply by like 10 or whatever, and that's atmosphere.
An atmosphere for every 10 meters, yeah, so you're at 150 atmosphere.
There you go.
Okay.
Times that by 15 to get PSI.
So
Gotcha. Thank you, Gibby.
153 atmosphere. I wasn't expecting that. What's the most popular card game to play aboard the ship? Right now, it's Monopoly Deal. Although we are trying to break into some others. Cribbage is also a crew favorite that we've been playing, and I've been losing.
Gotcha. So I've got enough heading control to try and keep it tail to tail here.
To answer the question again, how much pressure are you guys facing right now? About
Under pressure.
140 atmosphere. Or sorry, 154 atmosphere.
Like 1,500 D-bars? I don't know what that translates to.
Okay.
Oh, here's a question for our team. Are the spines on the urchin poisonous?
Unknown. This is not a very well-known species. I'm sure these ones will be very, very sharp, but no other information.
Some urchins do have poisonous spines, though.
Oh, what kind of urchins?
You bet.
The ones you don't want to grab.
You know what? Fair enough.
Good point.
You're going to need some serious tongs to handle this guy back on ship.
The tongs of science.
Yep,
And the
spoons.
ladle of science that we
Yeah.
have as well.
I don't know if poison was the right word, but they have a venom. that can-
Venomous, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very mild toxin from what I've experienced on other shore urchins. It may sting a little bit.
Nice catch.
Beautiful.
Nice.
You want an omega?
There's a segment omega. Do you think you can go an omega? Yeah.
All right, tool tray coming out.
Um,
All right. Want me to take a look with the bubble, or are you all right? All right, opening. Oh. That's all I got. That's as low as it'll get. Oh, there we go. That's all we got. Yep. The Magnum.
To answer that question, Dad, no. Well, other than we have a little bit of a 4th of July celebration here on the ship, but that's about it for anything special, quote unquote, for 4th of July.
So we're just
To answer the question, chat, yes, we do click the tongs of science before we use them, just to make sure they work.
I can go in the right side with the C-pen.
Gotta give them the good old click-clack. And I think the most interesting find of the Johnson
That is
atoll,
correct.
or at least the area that we're in, is probably the whale, the beak whale skull, or the fossilized beak whale skull.
You want drunken bubble or anything? I hear you. You can't do it backwards? Me either. Okay, I got that.
All
Great.
right.
To a tray in?
To answer the question in the chat, will the whale skull fossil and finding collection be on the highlights? Yes, I hope it is. The other science communication fellows did take a lot of highlight reels of them, and I'm sure you're going to be able to see that in the coming highlights.
Million years of defensive evolution, no match for a big plastic scoop.
That's
Or
right,
tongs,
checkmate,
or
nature.
spoons.
Oh, spoons.
Yay! All right, so we're being relieved by Team Sea Pickle. Team Sea Pickle, be good while we're gone.
Look at what with bubble cam? Bone, Raj, bone. Where'd you put it? I thought it was back in the air.
All right, ready to start moving again, Dan? Raj. Yep.
Zoom in just a touch. Gotcha. Hello.
Here's a question in the chat. What do the controls for operating the robot arm look like?
Raj, it looks like it looks very similar to the craft underwater, but just miniature. It's got a shoulder joint, an elbow joint, wrist joints, and then like a gripper sort of, not exactly a gripper, that's the only thing that sort of looks different. Two 250. Raj. 250. Yeah, now that it'd be. It's sort of hit or miss, yeah. I said it's sort of hit or miss. Sometimes you can get it to go and sometimes you can't.
Two 250. Reach nav, 30 meters, 250.
The
Always exciting.
The fossil is in the sexton view. The fossil is in the sexton view. It will be. Yeah. Raj. Okay. Dealer's choice. Where do you think we'll put it for recovery? Leave it there? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
So as we're traversing away from the large sector collapse cliff and onto the gyuotthe summit, you can kind of see a dramatic change in lithology. We just kind of got very flat lithologies, probably limestone or hard crust, which is just like marine snow that's kind of cemented together. And it's crusted over some ferromanganese. Very different terrain.
Are we looking to collect more samples at the summit?
We're certainly looking to explore around and see what we find. I think we have a maybe a tiny bit of boom. We're pretty full up on samples to the point where we're holding some. But we're always looking for samples. But as far as I'm aware, there aren't any specific like geo summit targets that I'm aware of.
If we find an unusual biota, that's always a target.
Yeah.
We can always stick it in with some rocks. And we've got 2 Niskins left.
Oh. So we gotta find a boulder with a little community on it.
You're off, SPL.
See, Science Right is listening.
Here's another question in the chat. Is it possible to collect sound recordings from Herc? I believe not, right?
Well, Herc is loud, so you'll probably just hear Herc. Yeah, I think if you wanted sound recordings, you would have to lower a device just to the bottom.
I have been on a cruise with Herc where we brought a sound recorder and put a big floaty tag on it and left it on the bottom and ran away for like 2 hours and then came back and got it to see if we could listen to methane seeps.
Oh. Did you hear anything then?
I don't know what the conclusion to that was. I just know that they were trying it. They got themselves a sound recorder and we put it on the bottom and marked it and ran away for a while and then came back.
Bridge nav, 30250.
So Kevin, this isn't like a bunch of like plate corals that have been totally encrusted with ferromanganese from when this was the top of the mountain, when this was a reef.
Probably not, but I don't know for sure. Can't really tell unless you crack it open. It's very smooth. So I don't know how much this was a reef lithology right over here. It could have been an atoll around it, and then this was the island that just kind of got wave eroded flat. So could just be a thin little reef.
Is that a stiff underwater breeze or a stiff surface breeze? Wow. That's intense, and I doubt I'll get anything out of any Niskins that were taken during that time.
I'm not on whatever channel you're on.
When we are in a really strong current, just because you have so much water moving, the water that you're sampling is not actually the water from the local area. So it often doesn't contain the local signal. It's coming from somewhere else. And also just diluting out all the cellular material that's around. Nice. So I hear.
Herc's gauges look good.
And we are back. I hope you didn't miss me too much. And we're gonna just jump right back into it for the next 2-ish hours. So enjoy the ride, our lovely Nautilus viewers from home. Gonna answer that question in chat. Do you guys ever casually swim off the boat? And also, do you go diving? We do not jump off the boat or go swimming off the boat, considering that if we do, it will leave without us. But we do have a little bit.
leave.
But we do have a little saltwater immersion tub. What would we call it? What would we call it?
Yeah, I think that's
yeah,
what you call
it's
it.
called a tepid tub.
A tepid tub that we can dip our feet in if we so choose, and it's quite refreshing whenever they fill it up on a hot day.
Bridge nav 30250.
What is?
Answer the question in chat. Is there a reason why you explore around this area at this time versus any other time of the day? It just so happens that our watch schedule lined up like that. We try to. We don't really try to exactly time our watches. It's more of we dive for a certain amount of hours, and then through that hours, we we go on watch for those.
We're maximizing the number of dives we can get in the area, given weather and sea state conditions. So we're trying to hit as many seamounts as possible. So we will schedule about a 20-hour dive on each one, then move on to the next. We're staying extra time on this one just because our weather window is closing for a few days. So we're getting our dive in while we can.
So don't miss us too much.
I assume as well that like time of day doesn't really matter in the deep ocean. So
It actually can more than you think.
okay.
Yeah, I've done dives at 600 meters, so there's no daylight that penetrates that deep, and fish during the night will be asleep in the rocks, so they still respond to circadian rhythms even without light.
Interesting.
Thank you for singing in chat. Here's another question from chat. Are you able to map the speed and direction of water currents at different depths in the water?
You can. We don't have the piece of equipment that you would use for that on board. You do that with a device called an acoustic Doppler current profiler, which uses sound waves to measure the speed of water moving through the water column.
That'd be fun.
To answer the question in the chat, do you think fish dream? And if so, what do they dream
Speaking of
about?
fish,
Oh, speaking of fish, where?
right here in the DSC.
Oh, look at that. There's another cutthroat.
Yeah,
here.
right below the ROV is a fish.
Anyway.
I think I got a picture of it, so. Yeah, barely. Sorry, do fish dream?
Do fish dream? Do you think?
I don't think so. I
Really?
don't think they have that part of their brain that would, but please take that with a huge grain of salt. That is, yeah. I don't think so, but maybe.
Be kind of cool if they could.
Steve would probably have a better answer to that.
Whenever Steve gets on SPL, I will ask him that question. Hey, Steve. Welcome back.
First, so it's getting a little flat up here, flatter than I kind of expected, Nav and foot row. Can we do more of a southerly direction?
We sure
Due
can.
south?
Yep.
Kind of reacquire the slope and then kind of pick up that sweet spot where we're seeing a lot of biology.
Okay.
But just before we do that, can we take a look at this thing? I don't think that's a rock.
Looks like it has spines. If I was a fish and I could dream, what would I dream about?
If I was a fish? Oh, that's a good question. What would I'd probably dream about fish things. Oh.
The metaverse.
Oh my god. Oh no. All right, you're starting off strong, guys.
Nice.
I only say it because I want to hear Kukui laugh. She just, yeah.
So, Steve, here's a question for you, the chat, an actual question. Do lunar phases have an effect on animals in the deep sea?
Lasers? Is that what you
Lunar
said?
phases.
Lunar phases.
Oh. Oh, that's a little different. Well, yeah, I mean, there are tides in this far out in the ocean, but to the degree that they affect the benthic biota is pretty variable. Let's take a look at this Serianthan and I'll expand upon that.
Serianthan. Spelled?
Tube anemone, also known as.
I will put tube anemone instead. Is it T-O-O-B or T-U-B-E?
Oh my goodness. It's T-U-B-E, come
Okay.
on.
Is that a sea pen biot?
Yes, we sea pen, and then we've got actually 2 different types of anemones over on the other side that are
Oh, wow.
not serianthed.
So, do these anemones, do they eat sea pens?
No, no, they're planktivorous.
Ah.
So they're eating the same thing as the corals and sea pens.
No person in chat. No, I'm 17. Here's another question. If we're
It's a
ready.
high density area here. Got 2 different anemones species.
Where's the other anemone?
Serianthed, sea pen. Up top there was a tunicate.
Oh. This is an interesting looking one.
Here's another question in chat. I'm part of a solar car team in the U.S. I was wondering what sort of software or instruments do you use on the ship to track weather data while out in the ocean? I know our team uses a software called Baron that tracks clouds and normal weather patterns, but I was just curious what research expeditions like yours use.
Is that full zoom? Full zoom. Give it the beans. So this is a serianthed or tube anemone. You can see the tube is actually right here, and it's made out of a kind of a mucousy sedimented little house, but these things are actually can extend quite deep into the sediment, and they're next to impossible to collect.
Like a potato.
What?
Like a potato?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extends into the
Potatoes
ground.
impossible to collect? Is
Except they're a little bit more exciting than a potato.
I don't know. Whenever I find a potato underneath the ground, I get excited because I always miss it.
Is that a common occurrence, or?
Yeah, sometimes we
All right,
have...
we're all set there. You can go wide and keep going.
sometimes there's gyuotthe patches we try to harvest, and they hide very, very deep underneath the ground. And
What did you say, walla?
sweet potato.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So kind of like a tube anemone. But yeah, I do agree, tube anemones are more exciting.
What about those potatoes that are shaped like people? That's pretty exciting.
Like people?
Have you seen those?
What?
You've never seen those?
Those exist?
Yeah.
What? I have no idea what that would even look like.
Going back to the
I
question
won't
in
elaborate.
chat, before we continue our potato adventure, this question was asked before, but I don't think it got answered. Was I was wondering what software or instruments do you use on the shipwreck track, the ship to track weather data while out in the ocean?
I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe someone in the front row might have a better handle on it. Yeah.
Steve, do you know where you want to go ultimately if we're going to be diving until 4 o'clock? I'll have Rennie make some more contours.
Yeah, well, I think we're actually going to head south maybe for 400 or 500 meters, or maybe just slightly west of south. So 200, what do you got there?
This is like 195.
Yeah, 195 is good.
Okay.
And
So
500 meters, can you show me what that is?
yeah, that's about 500 meters right there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And then after that, can you make a waypoint due west at 1 kilometer and then 2 kilometers?
Sure. So due west from here.
Yeah.
Then another question from chat. How do you memorize all these biological names of things? How many do you think are in your head?
Too many.
Each one of them has a voice.
Look at this sediment mound.
Wow.
Yeah,
That rock's doing,
interesting flow conditions around here.
yeah, messing with the flow. That's pretty big.
Then another question. Are anemones colonial or solitary organisms?
Both. They can be both.
Really? Which one's more common?
Solitary.
Where do
There's
you...
a fair amount of marine snow up here. It's
Yeah.
more dense than I thought, and the currents are coming now kind of west to east. Let's see, west. That makes sense, coming right over the gyuotthe.
And to answer that question in chat really quickly from Jason.
It's kind of similar to what I was doing over here, except it was more like a northwest, and now it's like this. Well, actually more like this. It's way down here.
Blown around a little bit.
Did you extend
Looks like it's getting
the
blown around
dive?
a little bit.
So to answer your question, Jason, I believe we did, at least by a little bit, because we have a shortened amount of time with our weather window for tomorrow and the upcoming dives. So if we extend this dive, we get more bottom time to make up for lost time that we're going to have
Can we back up a touch, or are we too far out ahead? There was something on the sediment right down here that was worth a look. Maybe 2 meters or so. Something I was thinking about taking a peek at is right here. There's the snap zoom would be fine. Kind of right in the divot in that sediment.
Then Brandon, here's a question for you. What is a gyuotthe? Well, actually, I'm going to try to answer it, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
So a gyuotthe is a upheave of sediment with a flat top on it. Brandon, how'd I do?
Not great.
Yeah, it's up to the right a bit.
It's a flat top seamount.
Flat top seamount. There you go.
Actually, I think
When I talk
it's
to you
right
just
there.
through nav, you can't hear me.
Usually has to be about 1,000
It's
meters
just a
below,
patch.
above the surface.
A patch of
or the
a fish.
something in the
crust.
sediment.
Little fishy
yeah.
fish.
Has to have 1,000 meters of relief, or around there. Gyuottes form from wave action. That's why it's flat on top, because the waves constantly and consistently erode it, the entire surface area.
And then eventually they get subducted, yeah? At
Correct.
some point.
All right. It looks to be just an accumulation of coarse sediment and xenophyophores, so we can zoom out. And there's a lime yellow something that I wanted to take a look at right up here. Right here. Between these two rocks. Yeah. It's yellow and fuzzy. Can I see that? Yeah.
Drew's driving.
Actually, yes.
Could do the same type of zoom.
Answer that question in chat. Why you haven't heard much of Delta Dan? It's because we currently have our lovely Drew driving Hercules at the moment, and Delta Dan is currently mentoring him, I believe. Most enjoyable part of the job?
What is that? The colors are so...
Yeah, I don't.
My eyes are like squinting and it's like, it's not working.
I need to get a
Oh.
closer zoom on that.
Looks like...
That's the
what is
color
that
out of
yellow
space
thing?
right there.
Can we go tighter in on that?
Is it
Yeah, the yellow stick.
Stauropathes?
Yeah, this yellow thing on a stick.
A yellow kebab.
We have very, very rudimentary words until we arrive at Latin.
Ah, yes. Here we see the yellow stick of the ocean floor.
I like to say the yellow fuzzy kebab.
Full zoom.
What the
What is
heck am
that?
I looking at?
Is that a tube worm?
What?
Oh, it's a little... Is it like a current thing? But what is the color?
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
What the...
Go mad.
Huh. You think it's just zoanthus on a tube worm?
But it, yeah.
Would they colonize a tube worm?
I think whatever we're looking at is probably something that's colonized some sort of stalk, but it's very low contrast.
So, what should I put as like a sort of identification, or what do we
Well,
know
we're
exactly?
going to get into position, so
Okay.
just hang on.
I will stand by.
Stand by.
And a question for Brandon: with all the sediment, is it safe to assume that the current is weak in that location?
I mean, weak relative to the rest of the ocean, sure. But, yeah, I mean, it also has to do with slope, I think, and the amount of, organisms that are bringing the sediment down when they die. So,
What the heck?
my brain
Oh, a little bit more there?
is so confused.
All right, let's see what we got here.
That is trippy.
What?
Huh.
It's the color out of space, guys. I keep saying
It's the
this.
metaverse.
Oh, my God.
Kukui, no.
Not everything
sorry, I'm
is the
sorry.
metaverse cocoon.
I'm sorry. Then I'll take it back.
Huh.
Yeah, I got nothing here. It's probably some sort of mucus from some sort of infauna.
Yeah.
There looks to be a small worm tube here,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure what this shadow is, and it's discomforting. Okay, thanks, pilot. We can zoom out and carry on.
We're all gonna dream about that now.
That felt really Lovecraftian.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, why is it just yellow there?
Yeah, maybe mucus of some type.
Yeah, it must be, right?
Here's a question from chat. What's the most enjoyable part of the job? I mean, for me, it's because I'm not limited to what field I can do as a guest student intern. So probably helping with the ROVs and being able to work in the wet lab it's really, really nice to do, and kind of just help out wherever I can. That's probably some of my favorite part.
Cutting open a rock and seeing what's inside. It's like opening a birthday present every day.
That's like Christmas.
Yeah.
Umbellula pen.
Ooh.
The thing that's striking about this area is the lack of really echinoderms generally, especially brittle stars and sea. Brittle stars.
Looks like there's something.
Urchins. Oh,
Cucumber, maybe?
Yep. Never mind. Disregard that statement. Yeah, the cucumbers is what I was going to go after.
Oh, is that a tuna that just flew by?
Thought it was a shrimp.
Shrimp. Yeah.
Shrimp.
It had like
Oh,
a little yellow
fish.
coating over it. Oh yeah.
I like how they glide, like, in the current. Oh, another one. In the middle
Wow.
of the screen.
Here's a question for our ROV guys. How strong is Hercules? That is, does it come up with any scratches or
And a
other
shrimp flying
damages?
by.
Shrimps are, yeah, surprisingly
Herc is pretty
dense
strong.
at this site.
Certainly does have some visible scratches on it, but it can definitely take a beating. We actually use, we bump it into rocks and ledges in order to stabilize it for a good camera shot, so it's meant to do that.
And quickly answer the question, is anyone hungry right now? We did just get relieved for dinner, so we did get to go have a little bit of a meal.
Crinoid, brown crinoid here.
Yeah.
So a lot of us are pretty full at the moment.
Has some lasagna.
Yeah, that was good lasagna.
That bread was also delicious too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have very, very good cooks here on the EV Nautilus. We do love them so.
Yes.
All right, so definitely that strong west to east flow.
Here's another question for our ROV guys. Is there, what kind of fuel does Hercules run on? Is it gas or something else?
Hercules is electric.
Woogie, woogie, woogie.
Takes its power from Nautilus down the 6/8 cable to Atalanta, and then through the umbilical that you see, the yellow one. And I think it's 2400, 2200 volts. Gets stepped down with the transformer and then powers an electrical motor. And that motor powers a hydraulic pump, and then most of the functions run off of a hydraulic fluid powered by the electrical motor.
Ah.
Another brown crinoid right here.
Oh, that's a Umbellula sea pen. You can see the base is right
Oh
there.
yeah, I see the base.
Yeah. Yeah, they're common here. Probably one of the few things that's reliably present. They don't need much sediment to anchor. A few centimeters.
Back-to-back food questions.
One of the deepest corals, actually.
Another fish.
Yeah,
How are you seeing these
Helisaurs.
fish? Oh
A
wow.
lot of
Love this
Come down
current.
a bit to give you a bit more leash there.
Then to answer that food question, what's the favorite thing? What's the favorite item on the menu? I mean, for me, it's probably our crepe days because you can go down after a watch and make yourself a little bit of a crepe before going to bed for breakfast. That's probably got to be my favorite.
I like the burgers.
That's true. They do
The
make some mean
hamburgers.
burgers.
Ice cream.
Ice cream on Sundays, yeah, that's good.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite dishes is chicken curry. Curry
yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Kukui?
That's a really hard question. I do love all the pastries that they make, all the desserts they make, and all the pasta sauces that they also make.
Yeah, that's good. That's then, Jason, to answer your question, the EV Nautilus does not serve shrimp cocktail, unfortunately.
That sounds really good right now.
Yeah, it does. Especially, he actually mentioned he was craving it after watching a live dive.
I could go for some ceviche.
And here's a question for Gibson, actually. What capabilities does Atalanta have?
Atalanta has yaw, or lateral capabilities, so it can rotate in the XY plane, try and keep Hercules in view and our umbilical tether managed well. The winch controls its Z offset, or its altitude or depth in the water column. And it also functions as the link between Hercules and the ship, relaying all the information and power. It also has a HD camera, which is what you're looking through. We call it Mini Zeus. That's what we use to view Hercules most often, as well as some standard definition cameras to keep an eye on some parts of the vehicle, and one that looks out the rear to watch the tether.
Nav, can we zoom back in and high pack a little bit when you have a chance?
Absolutely.
Great.
Have the crew made borscht yet? No, I don't believe so. Although I do hear it's pretty good.
What's that?
You never had it?
Borscht? Hang on.
I don't
Goodness.
think so.
Let me look up the exact thing for you.
Dollop of sour cream. Oh, it's really good.
Not broached. It is borscht. I believe it's Eastern European,
Mm-hmm.
and it's beetroot soup.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't had that yet.
But we will let you know if we do in fact encounter some.
I like beets.
Yeah, there was some cabbage rolls and pierogies. Oh,
Oh yeah.
good stuff.
They make really good food. Answering that question in chat, do you ever taste things you bring up from the bottom? Tuber, souffle, squat lobster waffles, dirt. No, we do not eat the stuff that we bring up because most of it is inedible. And also, since we are in a reserve, I don't believe we're allowed to bring up and eat the animals that we find on the bottom.
Yeah, this is a what is termed a no-take sanctuary. So usually, the access to samples and biology and stuff that has to be permitted here. And so for that reason, there's no commercial like fishing activities in the monument either. So everything here is strictly for science and strictly according to our permit.
I did accidentally taste the dirty water that came off the rock as I was sawing it. That was unfortunate.
How was it?
Foul.
Ooh.
All right. Yeah, let's zoom on the sponge while we're...
Half soon.
So, Altaria?
We're going to take a look. It's not Walteria. I believe it's a Euplectillid from a distance, but we'll take a look when we get closer. It is a glass sponge. You can tell that from its appearance. Translucent, appears fragile.
Half soon here.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% certain on this, but I'm fairly confident that it's a Euplectillid. So Euplectillid is the family. Yeah, yeah, as you can.
There we go.
Great. Yeah, I think this imagery is sufficient to get a good ID. So we can zoom out.
All right.
So I just came down there a little closer to try and make less on the tether.
Euplectillid, and similar to this, was collected in 2017 on the Okeanos Explorer. It was tentatively identified at the time as Dictyalis, but there are superficial resemblances to Regadrella as well, but Dictyalis is probably more reasonable, and that depth was 1905 meters for the collection, so it's similar to where we are now.
Interesting at all?
Yeah.
An enemy?
Take a
I
look
guess
at it.
a stalked crinoid, maybe?
Anyone want to
I can't see it yet.
go for the ID on this one? 10 watch
Stalked
bucks.
crinoid.
How
I
many
can't
watch
see it
bucks
yet.
are on the line?
It doesn't look like anything.
5 watch bucks on the line.
5 watch
That's,
bucks?
I need a little zoom. Am I running out of time?
We have
Oh wait, no, it's
Half
anathemastes.
Wow, well done.
Nice.
Is it?
We all just assume.
Don't worry, these are whose line is it anyway rules, where the game's made up and the points don't matter,
That's right. That's right.
True.
but only if you want them to. So we have this is a mushroom coral in the genus Anthomastus.
Full zoom.
Nice.
Its polyps
Polyps,
is
if
very
you can
big.
see, have 8 tentacles, even though you can see it slightly from a distance. What we have here are polyps with pinnules on them. And if we were to get close up, we could see the pinnules, but not from this distance. But otherwise, yeah, this Anthomastus has very, very tall, long polyps. Other mushroom corals we've been seeing, like the Anthomastus tahinotis, they have a very long stalk at the base. But these, if they were to get suck in their polyps, basically, what you would have is a mushroom-looking structure.
Nice.
All right, thanks for that. So as we continue to move south, it should steepen a little bit. And in fact, I believe it has a little bit, as we've kind of lost our big stretches and embankments of sediment here. So we're kind of in that more concrete crust. Covers everything. Sediment is, yeah, there are these sediment drifts.
Oh, good eye.
Yeah, nice cucumber. Yeah, we can do a partial zoom. We don't need to stop for it.
Partial zoom.
Wow.
Look
Oh,
at that.
Look at that beautiful gut.
Wow.
Not something you hear on land too often.
Sorry.
I think that might be another number inside that gut.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a 9 maybe.
I'm not feeling that.
All right.
I don't know. Yeah, I also see a 9.
Yeah.
All right, you all can start your own lotto
Or
cards.
maybe an 8.
I mean, your 2 and 0 is way more far-fetched than this 9.
To each their own.
Yeah, it seems to be eating a lot of the detritus sediment. See around here.
When I hit the Powerball, maybe I'll invite you all out in my exploration
Ooh.
vessel.
Maybe then you'll see the 9.
Nice.
Not likely.
Yep, I figured that was
The,
coming.
the Powerball, not that I won't invite you out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, onward.
To infinity and beyond.
I think it's unlikely that, like, you'll break a bone, but it's impossible. You're going to win the Powerball.
I don't even play the lottery, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So we're getting into some terrain now that is more representative of the steeper slopes that we had come across. Yeah. Yeah, we can keep going southward, maybe a little bit west of south. Okay, we're going to aim for waypoint 10. Yep. It's a faraied sponge way back in that crevice. Is there anything you want to look at in here, geologically? I don't know if it's... Okay.
On the other side of this, though, it looked like it might have been flat again. So
Flat on the down slope side over there?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is a little...
Outcrop.
Yeah.
This is a good direction. If this outcrop continues, we can kind of go skirt around it, or in the same direction. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a big sponge over there on the right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, these are really good-looking layers.
It's a sea cucumber or polychaete worm down on the rock surface. What do we have? We have slurp jars open, right?
Yeah, we have 2 slurp jars open. And is that a Euplectillid sponge?
This is Tritopleura.
Tritopleura.
Yeah, it's more, has the blades. It's more bladed, whereas faraids are the other branching morph. They have more like tubes. We were meant to go south as our general direction.
So Steve, at waypoint 10, what are we trying to find up there?
Well, we're a bit off the map. We've extended the dive through about 4 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time tomorrow. We'll be on deck, but until then, we're gonna kind of extend the dive track for as long as we can to maintain contact with the seafloor.
I think you're pulling it.
So waypoint 10 was a kind of a ad hoc waypoint we dropped.
So what is it? Is it more of a gyuotthe or is it?
It's just a point in space. We're just going to go check it out. There's nothing of significance there. It's just a point for the ship's navigation, so it's a little bit easier for them to follow a line.
Great.
But when we get there, we can always go further south, or we can come in. I keep on saying inshore, but it's not inshore. In gyuotthe, I don't know, towards the center of the gyuotthe.
Want me to just leave auto off for a bit and stop the pull, or? Okay, copy that. That's all right.
We're going to lateral along that steep part a little bit, kind of either southwards or, facing to the west, but lateraling along towards waypoint 10.
Yep, copy that, down 5.
Nav, can you do some quick calculations for me?
Sure.
At this speed, how long would it take us to get to waypoint 10?
Yep, stand by.
All right, we're down 5. Thanks, Dan.
It's interesting. The relief increases here.
I can just pick up your lights off my port side.
Steve, if we don't stop too much, if we're just heading straight there at this speed, it's about an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks so. We're facing west, so looks like, yeah, it is flat on the other side.
It might have been
This.
It might just be a mound or
Yeah, I don't know.
lava tube.
Yeah, maybe, honestly. Oh, there's a sea star, if you wanted to see
Yeah.
that.
We can come back to it.
Here's a question from chat. What region are you guys exploring? I just tuned into your live stream. I'm very curious because I've seen similar underwater rock arrangements.
We have assumptions that this is carbonate. Oh yeah, that looks like pillows. Maybe cracked open.
Yeah.
That's a cool looking outcrop.
It's cool layers right
Yeah.
here. You can see 3 layers.
Mm-hmm. It's solid. Well, that might make sense that we would potentially see some more exposed basalt here if that is it, because we're heading towards more of a sloped environment than kind of the top of the gyuotte, but not necessarily what this is.
Yeah, sometimes pillows and the crust look similar, in my opinion.
Another fish just swam by, I think.
Atlanta's heading 180.
Oh, is that an isopod or
Yeah.
is that a shrimp?
I'm not sure.
It
Yeah.
looks isopody.
I think that may be a shrimp.
Can we look at this where you just zoomed in? There was something red dot down there. You see this red?
So,
Zoom in it.
so Steve,
What
Wow.
is that?
That is
It
a
looks like a
huge
mite.
amphipod.
Whoa, it looks like a cockroach.
It's a huge amphipod.
anthropod, you said?
Can we slurp that?
You want to slurp that?
Yeah, that's a giant. So I don't want to say giant amphipod because there actually is a giant amphipod
Hey, Dan?
found in like Hadal trenches.
Okay.
Oh.
But that one is enormous size. I've never seen one that big before. And it's just kind of living out in the open.
You want 5 on the craft?
It's a couple centimeters at least.
Right, yeah.
Roger.
Do they normally live like
Craft
under
Power's on.
overhangs and stuff?
I've
Fenders
never
off.
seen one kind of free living like this.
Oh, interesting.
They're always usually on coral colonies or something.
Oh,
But even then, I've never seen one this big on a coral colony. It would be
Ready
very
for the valve
obvious.
when you are.
Good eye.
Just wandering.
Alrighty.
Yep. Yep.
will they get spooked, you think, by
Never see us coming.
It may. They have similar reactions to like the shrimp we were trying to get the other day. But I think if you were to sneak up behind it, it's probably not going to be as skittish as the shrimp. So just a note for the front row.
So Steve, is it very common to find these kind of things on the bottom of the floor?
Half valve is on.
Are they
Roger that.
chocolate?
That's the flush jar. What we got here? 7. No, not that one. It's an open jar for us, Kukui.
Oh,
Yep,
Looking
there
for,
is jars number 1 and 7.
okay.
oh wow, he's fast.
So amphipods are a type of crustacean. We usually find them on corals and
Doing good.
sponges, but this one is kind of just free living.
It's a free spirit.
So what do these things eat?
They're mainly scavengers or detritivores.
Yep, jar's ready.
Eyes on the prize.
All right, suction's coming on.
Often the taxonomy of these small crustaceans is very poorly known, but they can be pretty speciose in the deep sea.
Suction's at 9-0.
And we're all equal opportunity explorers here, so we're all interested in all kinds of animals, not just the big stuff.
Oh my gosh, he's an expert evader.
Game of cat and mouse.
Suction's on. Suction's on 90, I'll come down. Okay.
It's gotta land sometime. I don't know.
I didn't see it. Oh, hold on. I think I might have found it right here.
Really?
Right
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
I see something moving.
Got a little zoom?
Yep, I think he landed right here. Just down straight. Maybe I'm seeing things.
Mirages under the ocean.
It is the desert of the ocean.
Well, yeah, we can, I guess, scan up. If we don't find it, then that'll be that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There he is, bottom left.
Oh, good eye.
Jeez.
Wow.
Wow. Good catch.
Beautiful catch.
Got him right where we want him.
For folks at home, this thing is like 2 centimeters long. Very hard, tough to spot against the mottled background here.
I will ask that question in the chat in just a second.
Suction's coming back on now. There we are. Oh, there you go. You got him.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Well done.
What a capture.
Let me know when you...
All
There
right,
it is.
in the jar.
All right.
Nice.
Shutting her off.
Yeah,
Jar
rotate for
forward.
sure.
There we go.
Yep, thank you. Great job.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So this collection was valuable for its advancing our understanding of species inventories and biodiversity, possible new species, range expansions. Amphipods themselves are very poorly
gonna flush
collected
here.
and usually limited to what we find associated with coral colonies, but this one was sufficiently different because it was kind of just living free on the rock surface and very large in size, which suggests that it could be a species that's unknown.
So, so people in the chat are
You're
turn
not
craft
on,
power
must
back
be
off.
it. Oh, you're talking it now.
Okay.
Good.
Fenders are back on.
Hmm?
Nice catch.
Amphipod.
My heart was racing for that.
Amphiphi. Amphipod.
So, Steve, some people in the chat think this is the Hyperiod megalonosiloid. Brandon, can you help me with this?
Yeah. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not an amphipod specialist, but I know that amphipods can get enormous, like the size of a massive prawn or shrimp, especially from the hadal zones where they are scavengers. But there was a neat article publication about a deep sea hadal amphipod that was collected with microplastics in its gut recently, a few years ago. I don't know, it all blurs together, but oh, can we pop back a second? There was something on the rock here that was interesting.
Look like a base, maybe.
Yeah, I just want to zoom on that if we can. A brown patch. Yeah, it is a base. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, good. Yeah, so this hadal amphipod with plastic microparticles in its gut from like hadal zones, so greater than 6,000 meters.
Wow. Awesome
It was
insight.
described as a new species with something like plastic in its name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can look that up.
Gift from Steve. Anyone want a snack? Thank you.
In the Marianas Trench. Yeah.
What was it called?
We're spining out.
Pardon me? Yep, roger that. Coming around south.
Lysianasoidea amphipod.
All right.
Is
At
amphipod a
180.
type of arthropod, or is that its own?
It's a type of crustacean.
Okay.
Yep.
Roger.
They kind of look like this,
Ah.
like a big shrimp,
Oh dear.
Wow.
but more.
Yeah, either that or the current, I don't know.
Nice.
More, yeah, like flattened.
Okay.
Oh,
But-
okay. Oh, its claws are huge too.
Yeah, they can have large, so amphipods have such diverse body plans. Like if you've ever seen, oftentimes they're found on the underside
gonna
of
try and
boats
look
or
less a little bit.
on dock pilings
You're
or
gonna
things
look
like
less than
caprellids, or a skeleton shrimp.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
skeleton shrimp are amphipods, and they are
Alright,
just
perfect.
wild, like almost alien.
Understood.
Nice.
I'm on 180 now.
Oh, wow.
What? That's a thing?
Yeah, they're called skeleton shrimp.
It looks like a
Wow.
grasshopper.
We see them in the deep sea as well,
That is so cool.
but they'll use their part of their appendages to attach to some substrate, usually I don't know, hydroid or some sort of algae or something, maybe a coral, and then they'll feed with these almost mantid-like appendages.
So are skeleton shrimp, are they considered shrimp?
No, I mean they're in a different group than like the true shrimp, Caridian shrimp, they're called.
So what's the difference?
They're different groups. So the only similarity is that they're both crustaceans. Different arthropod groups.
Yep.
I'll be very curious to look at that one. I don't really have the skills to identify it
Let me know
here,
if you want
but
more,
I have some colleagues
more light,
who
more
might be
leash.
interested in amphipod diversity. But it was just, yeah, I've never seen one so large before. At least so large such that you could see it from 2 or 3 meters up with an ROV at full zoom.
I can come down 5 if you need. Okay. Ooh.
So Steve, going back to the skeletal shrimp, what kind of depths do we see those at?
Skeleton shrimp,
Roger.
surface down to
Yeah,
a couple thousand meters at least, maybe deeper.
gotcha.
Oh, another Thalassaurus. Or Thalassaur.
Oh, yeah.
What is it called again? Halosaurus or?
The fish there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
tough
On
to
top of
tell. It could be a halosaur. It's a very, even for a fish, it's very small.
Sure,
Oh.
yep.
Maybe 10 centimeters.
What's the average length of a halosaur?
I don't know.
Does
Fish base. I'm telling you, fish base. Fishbase.org has all these answers. There's a really great website
Is that another coral sticking out of
maintained
there?
by a group at UBC.
So, at what depths do we usually find bigger fish? Do we find them more shallow, more deep in the ocean that we've seen so far?
Can you repeat that question? I didn't process.
At what depths do we usually find bigger fish? Is it more like deeper depths, like beyond 1,000 meters, or more shallow depths?
Typically shallower, yeah.
Why is that?
Easier access to energetic food supplies. Stuff down here is not going to support very large body plans.
Mm. So do things like sunlight and abundance of food go hand in hand together, or is a huge part of that?
Well, it's a more energetic, food web for sure. Yep.
In terms of just deep sea species, do you know of any, stratification between their sizes?
Well, I mean, you're really stretching my brain here.
I know, I'm
I
sorry.
try not to be like a fish person because I usually don't. My vocabulary for fishes and my my facts for fishes runs out pretty quickly.
It's not very efficient.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, I just got that.
Brutal.
Nice one.
Is that Tim?
No, it's runny.
Oh, okay.
Steve knows who it is.
Thanks God.
But Rennie might know.
What's that?
If
all the things.
deep sea fish stratification, is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah. You can come up with something.
Well, no, not gonna.
Not even gonna humor us.
And Steve, what kind of sponge is this that we see here?
This is a Euplectillid glass sponge. Probably Dictyalis. Based on recent collections from this site by the Okeanos Explorer in 2017. Something very similar to this, resembling this, was collected. We saw this about half an hour ago, too. Yeah, there's shrimps inside.
Someone with a shrimp.
Associate, yeah.
Yeah, shrimps or amphipods sometimes will dwell inside habitat. Somewhat of a commensal relationship. Oftentimes you'll find shrimps, amphipods, other potentially small crustaceans associated with these types of sponges. It's great shelter.
Yeah, you bet.
I wonder if that brownish sediment that's around the sponge.
I don't know. I think that's just sorting that's going on by the current. So like coarse bits
Okay.
concentrated.
Got it.
And really quickly, going to answer that question in chat. Do you find any trends in the size or concentration of life around the peaks of the seamount versus lower down? I believe we see more life higher up and less life higher down or lower.
Not in this case, though. I think earlier in the dive, they saw more stuff, more life. Where the top of the gyuotthe, not so much.
That's a large sea anemone.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like 30 centimeters, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Let me guess, is that a faraied sponge stalk?
I don't think so. I think this one is Tretopleura. So the
Tretopleura,
faraids have these tubes coming out the side of the stalk, whereas the Tretopleura is more like a blade.
Oh, okay. Oh, I
or
see
a
the blades
fan.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try and point out the other morph. This one's not looking too good.
Or it might be stars on the other side.
Yeah, there's almost certainly brittle stars. A lot of animals will colonize these.
Oh, hello.
Lots of life in this one shot.
These are very small cusk coming by here. Seen a few of them so far.
My computer is lagging.
Yep. We're ready back here.
Do you know if, like eventually I assume like a sponge stock would somewhat disintegrate into the grains? Do you know like the size of those typically?
The spicules, yeah, very, very small.
Smaller than sediment?
Probably, yeah. It's probably similar size.
Right.
I would say it's smaller. Most of them are smaller, but some of them might be visible depending on which type of sponge you are. There's a Welteria there. Welteria is a Euplectillid, but different genus than the one we previously saw. What's that? Dark-shaped rock.
It's like a lag.
Look at this.
Yeah. Unusually, yeah. Can we zoom in on the dark, long rock at the bottom here? It's probably just a rock this time.
Yeah.
Half zoom would be fine. We don't need to do a tight zoom. I think it's just a bit of crust. Yeah, whatever side. I think we're decided it's crust now. From up above, it looked like it could be another one of those fossils, precious cargo. Yep. Nope, that's it. We're all set. Yeah, just it's botryoidal crust.
So Steve, here's a question for you. Going back to that sponge that we just saw, is that sponge that has the associate? Are they zoanthids or anemones with it?
They were probably some sort of crustacean, like a shrimp.
Oh.
The ones that live inside. Yeah. It's a polyopogon there, another glass sponge.
So, do the shrimp permanently live inside of the sponge, or did they eventually start to migrate out?
No, they permanently live there. Yep.
They got a little tug on the
Rent
tether.
free.
That's all right.
Can you have generations of different kind of crustaceans or shrimp living inside of a coral? Like, could you have multiple generations of?
Looks like a very giant crinoid on
I
a
think
sponge.
that what they do is they probably are broadcast spawners, so the larvae, if there are mating pairs, the larvae will be dispersed out into the water column, so they don't recruit within the same sponge, or they leave very early, because I've never seen more than 2 individuals in a single sponge. But the sponge would be interesting. The sponge is interesting because that actually might help serve as like a dispersal vector, because they are able to pump water and move water, so that could take, could entrain some of the larvae if it's released at the opportune time by the shrimp.
So
another cuskeel on the left.
Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. Fish on the left.
So, Steve, these fish, do they? Someone in chat wants to know. Do they just keep going with the current whenever the current subsides, or do they go back to their original starting place?
Oh, you know what? This is something else, actually. Can we take a?
Oh,
It's got a. I can tell from the
head?
top profile. Yeah, it's a.
Yeah.
I believe this is a different type of eel that we've seen. It could be a Caenopedina, but I'm not sure yet.
yeah. Catch them on the fly.
Come down a little bit more for you.
Whoa. It's dancing for us. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this actually might be a congrid. Well, let me double check my guides first. I don't know why they do that. I think maybe to clear their gills. Oh no, it's a cutthroat.
It's like he's sneezing.
Yeah, it's a cutthroat.
Bless you.
Yeah, so it's a Caenopedina. This one's unusually active though. Usually they're more.
Slow as those go, let me know if you want tail to tail.
Yeah, I always thought when they do that, they're trying to clean their gills or something, or trying to move water across their gills in some way. Yeah, so this is.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Get what you can, but otherwise it looks pretty good from here.
So, Steve, going back to that.
Look at that color.
Whoa.
Oh.
The reverse is amazing. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a
Oh,
Caenopedina.
geez, you really can't see very well.
I like
For
it's gonna
sure.
get by it.
Sorry So,
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
A little
Is that
tunicate.
a tunicate?
Yeah.
oh yeah, predatory tunicate. Yep.
Huh.
We might
Many
actually
cycle the
have
power
one
on
of
this?
those. We thought it was a brachiopod earlier. We still have that. We're still on the same dive, even though it feels like ages ago. No, I was referring. I thought the one thing we thought was a brachiopod earlier might actually be gelatinous. It might be one of those. We just were seeing it at a very different angle. Yeah.
The purple blob? Or no, the
no.
brachiopod was on the wall.
Purple lump.
Purple
Yeah.
lump, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
there
keep calling it blob
already
too.
is a purple orb or purple blob in the Nautilus highlights.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Did they ever figure out what it was? Mysterious purple orb, right?
It is a velutinid snail.
Oh, look, a bamboo
Oh.
coral
Yeah.
of some sort.
Wow.
Beautiful colony.
The yeah, we can do a quick zoom. There's one of those parasitic jellyfish right here, or
Oh,
not
yeah.
parasitic, predatory.
Oh, how do you see that?
Metroid.
Good eyes.
Yeah.
Sort of looks like an acorn.
Yeah. So that we were looking at this morning, 12 hours or so ago.
Good.
We had happened upon a large colony that had several of these predatory jellyfish. You can see in the upper right corner of this colony, there's most of the polyps are out on the branches, but in one part right here in top center, there's a carnivorous jellyfish that we think eats coral polyps, and it's likely a new species that is currently being described from specimens, Xenophyophore.
Do a gauge check here.
But the behavior has been observed frequently on golden corals like Chrysogorgia, or more commonly Iridogorgia, but also bamboo corals seem to be preferred. You don't usually see it on primnoids, and you don't usually see it on other like black corals, other coral taxa. So something about this relationship is favorable for these jellies. I really wish I knew what they were doing though, because oftentimes,
Yep.
you know, we've seen them, you know, consuming polyps before, but you know, there was always the hypothesis that maybe the coral actually caught it and the coral is eating the jelly, but it just seems too. We've had really good evidence that the jelly is actually the thing that is consuming the coral polyp, and it's mind-blowing.
And you said it's only usually eating on one type of coral?
Yeah, usually eating one polyp. Yeah, on bamboo corals, and we've also seen it frequently on Iridogorgia, which has very small polyps. But I wish I could tell you more. I think we're still trying to understand what the process is. So the triad samples we've been taking for sea stars, for example, where we're trying to understand predator dynamics. We've also, in the past year, collected individuals of these.
Full zoom.
Predating. And so, you know, we'll be able to use kind of our transcriptomic tools that we're using to understand how predators and prey respond at a genetic level to be able to better tell you, you know, how serious this is for them. Like what kinds of defenses are they turning on to compensate for this kind of behavior. So in progress, stay tuned. Hopefully in the next year or so, we should have some data.
You bet.
Looks like a little sponge nub in the back.
And a urchin, maybe?
Yeah, a small urchin.
Nope. Oh. That's full. Yeah.
Nice.
It almost looks like the tentacle of this polyp is caught on the mouth of the coral, which actually would be a really interesting response from the coral, is just to ingest part of the predator. So I'm not sure what's going on here. The tables are a little turned.
Who's eating who?
Yeah.
So how does this jelly stay on?
There we go.
Someone in chat wants to know.
Well, actually, you can
Look at
see
that.
actually part of its mouth is extended.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there underneath. But it looks like definitely one of those tentacles is totally going into the mouth of the bamboo coral polyp. So I don't know what's going on here. I do believe that the red jelly it has its gastrovascular cavity around the polyp here. So it's definitely more likely that the jelly is the predator, but maybe the coral polyp that's on top is actually eating one of the tentacles of the jelly. So there might be like, they're both eating each other.
Huh. How is that?
Kind of
Yeah, I'm floating
relationship
around.
here.
I'm at 270 right now.
So that's something I haven't seen before.
Is it, Steve, is it fair to say that that's just the coral feeding, or could you say it's more of a defensive
Coming back
maneuver?
around to 180.
I think I could think it's probably both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to prove intention.
Right.
Yeah. Especially when corals down here are so opportunistic. Pretty much anything that hits their tentacles, if they can grab it and inject their nematocysts into it, the stinging cells that all cnidarians have, if they can do that, they will try to consume it. You don't know when your next meal is going to come along in the deep sea.
Yeah. Fair point.
So, speaking of which, how do these creatures move in the deep sea, like fishes and jellyfish? Do they just go with the current, or do they wait for the current to subside and then move on their own? How does it work?
It depends on the organism. A lot of this fauna that I'm interested in are sessile, so they do not move, like the corals and sponges. Once they're planted down, they don't move. But the fishes are mobile, the crustaceans are mobile, the echinoderms are mobile, and they do largely have planktonic larvae. So when they settle, they do have the ability to move around, while things like corals really don't.
Yeah, coming around. Those nosedives have just lost it, but it's coming back now. Yes, it's fighting me.
It's getting more of that outcroppy material coming up too, directly ahead of us.
I think when it dives, it loses its like auto-heading feedback.
Slopes are steepening. Yeah, I think like this isobath right here where we're at right now
I
is
just threw the ladder on instead to get myself
like
back around.
the
and then it
critical
looks like it's
angle,
okay.
because we're seeing more large colonies right here.
It's a large
Too far down, flow stagnates. Too far up.
So we're in
I
that
don't
sweet
know.
spot right now?
Yeah, because you can see in the distance some large sponges.
Some
Large
white
sponge
fish
down here,
flying by
large
as
sponge
well.
up here.
Oh yeah, on the left side.
Raj, I'm going to follow you up.
So just an update for nav. My goal is to reach waypoint 10 on or around or before the watch change. So I think we're right on schedule for that.
Okay. Yeah, we can make that happen.
So that way the next watch has options whether they want to follow the waypoints or they can plot their own course.
Okay.
This is a choose your own adventure dive.
Okay.
Yay!
So I don't know if Rennie sounds like he needs some things to do, so maybe if he wants
fighting
to
something here, but
create some more contours, he can.
Okay, I think Rennie made more contours for south and
Cool.
west, so should be covered.
Thanks, Rennie. Rennie's our mapping coordinator, but also coral
I'm gonna try
coral
one more
and
time with the
sponge
lateral here.
expert navigator.
Yeah, I got nothing. That'd be great. Yeah. Might just be the way the current's pulling the tether too. Roger.
He's also my voice double. Apparently, we have very similar voices.
Coming down. Or
Maybe
looking
if
down.
you're watching, can you confirm that?
That was a nosedive.
I guess not.
Yeah, see your lights over there. We go. Let's try and bring this back to 180.
A lot of rubble.
I got you in the corner there.
Broken crust and rock in this gully here. Facing upslope.
I'm good. Ready.
Are we totally good on rocks, or is there anything around here? Kevin told me we're good. Okay.
So, I'm watching all this.
Stalked crinoid here. We don't have to look at that. I'm just pointing it out for the loggers here.
So I'm seeing all this current being pushed around. People in the chat want to know, how strong is this current? Is it very sluggish? Is it fast moving?
It's moving appreciably, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call this sluggish. I would call it consistent. Consistent flow from the west, maybe northwest.
I'm gonna drop down a couple meters. Okay, roger that. Yeah. Yep.
So, Steve, can you
Gotcha.
hang on, I'm gonna wait for a little bit. Steve, could you explain the kind of like the life stages of a benthic organism down here?
Okay to finish checks right now.
That's going to be highly variable based on the organism. Most things down here will, if they're sessile, they'll probably have a planktonic stage or a larval stage that's, some sort of brood larvae. But the mobile fauna.
So,
Mobile fauna might be a little different. Usually they're broadcast spawners, typically. Although some ophiuroid brittle stars are mobile fauna, but they can also brood larvae or brood
Gotcha.
juveniles.
So, would you say that an organism could actually have a life stage where they live solely inside of the water column?
Right.
That is true, yeah, for the pelagic zone.
Like a bamboo coral in the distance.
But there are some pretty interesting animals like Pelagothuria, which is a sea cucumber.
All three people who working on it.
The only known sea cucumber that lives its entire life cycle exclusively in the shallow or in the pelagic zone, so above the bottom. Doesn't require any bottom contact as far as we're aware. It's a really cool animal. I love watching them. Haven't seen them very recently though.
Why
been
do you
out
think that is?
I don't know, possibly oceanography, but we've been diving kind of in their area in earlier this year in the Line Islands, as well as here on Johnstown. We should have seen them on the descent, but we haven't seen any yet. So we could have just been in a year back in 2017 where we had, you know, blooms of them potentially, but they've been more sparse since.
We're at the exact same depth we were an hour ago, if you were curious.
Really quickly to answer that
It's
question.
the shallowest depth we've been to also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're looking at on channel 3 is a 3D map of what Hercules is currently sensing and seeing right now in its own eyes. I believe, Cameron, Dan, can you confirm that? Yes, can confirm.
Roger.
Feels a little warm in here. I don't know if anyone else gets that.
All right. Gauges look good.
I don't know, this looks lumpy. It does. Loby. Lobate? Yeah, I guess.
And another Tubular stalk.
Yeah, we've been seeing,
Nice.
that's
Okay.
been the most characteristic organism of these fringes of the Seamount summit here.
Get that flow out of the way here.
Hemicorallium again, getting back into the coral zone. This is a, this is faraied here. Or a faraied, not necessarily faraied, but you'll notice like the tubular shape.
So to answer that question in chat, what is the current salinity of the water at the current depth? It is 34.6 PSU, and we are at 1,530 meters.
Another little tunicate looking thing on that rock? Or is my eyes going crazy?
Oh yeah, there's some big sponge rubble over here too.